We have a national academy that we send them to, and we are changing the curriculum of the the National Police Forces Academy to include more and more law enforcement and rule of law training. We're also bringing in mobile training teams formed of international police advisors that will serve with each unit for a period of 6 months, or 6 weeks, and take each unit through very specific training on law enforcement. With respect to the last part of your question, how do my men feel about additional risk? We're here to serve, and there's really, that we see, there's nothing changing in the risk between how we operate now or how we will in the future.
It's Pam Hess again. I'm interested in what you said about changing values. One of the things that I found when I was there and talking to Iraqi, particularly the commandos, is that they all said, we can't wait for the Americans to go so we can really do what we need to do to win this war. I got the impression that they felt like they were being held back. Do you think you are going to be successful in changing those values, or are they kind of going along with you all until you get out of their way and they can pursue this war? And would you tell us a little bit about their background? Were they special forces under Saddam or Fedayeen, or where did they come from?
Okay, the first part of your question is how successful, or what is the time associated with changing the values? And I've got to be honest with you, I don't know. What we can measure and what we can see is behavior. We think we're making great progress in the behavioral dimension. Values, understanding what it's like to be a servant of society and in a democratically elected, as part of a democratically elected government, is something that is going to take time to learn. And I don't have an answer on when they will achieve the standard, if you will. But it is going to take time, and as I said in an earlier question, it's an open-ended mission until we achieve final success, if you will. Regarding background, the commandos generally come from one of two sources. Most of them are served in security forces of the previous regime. The two sources are the Iraqi armies, the old Iraqi Army Special Forces, and the Directorate of General Security, the Special Operations Forces for the Ministry of Interior. And in fact, the Commando Division Commander comes from the second source. The National Police Forces Commander comes from the first, Army Special Forces. The two of them met when they were serving a sentence in Abu Ghraib for attempting to overthrow Saddam Hussein, and they served together, if you will, or they were stuck in a cell together for 5 years, and that's when they first formed a bond.
Colonel Buchanan, Jeff Shogel, Stars and Stripes again. When your troops see Iraqi special police acting out of line, what exactly can they do to restrain the Iraqi police officers? Can they arrest them? Can they physically detain them? Can they return fire if necessary? What can they do?
If they had to, the answer is yes. We are to, and we're under orders, and we won't hesitate to enforce the orders if we need to stop illegal acts or abuse. And so we have rules of engagement. The rules of engagement are honestly shaped towards enemy forces and to protect the civilians. And we could use escalation of force if we had to protect all innocent life.
You could theoretically shoot Iraqi police officers if they're acting out of line?
If that's what it took to protect innocent human life, we could.
Has that ever happened, do you know?
Not at all.
It's Pam Hess again. Would you give us an update on, if you know, that Iraqi Interior Ministry jail in Baghdad that General Horst went into? And at the time, General Dempsey told us that the U.S. military was searching intel to see if it had come up with any other leads on other possible jails like that. Have any been found, and what's been the situation in the command that you're in?
Yeah, I can tell you that this one is a little bit out of my lane. I know that there's an investigation ongoing. I don't know the results of the investigation. I don't know if there's other secret prisons that have been found, or what the situation of those cases may be.
But nothing in your command, not with the guys that you're dealing with? No jails that have been found under yours?
Well, we do maintain 2 detention facilities. They're not secret. We've been involved with them and providing oversight, advice, and medical treatment. We invite Iraqi Ministry of Human Rights and Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Interior joint inspection teams in to check the conditions. And so it's not that we have a jail or something that we suddenly found. We have 2 facilities and they're in the open, and we've been providing support all along the way.
Okay, we've got time for about one more question, and then Colonel Buchanan has some thoughts he wants to share with us after that question.
Colonel, it's Al Pessin again. With so many former members of the Saddam security forces, do you have a problem with insurgent infiltration? And what, if any, sort of steps do you take to find those folks and get them out or prevent them from getting in?
Okay, well, that I know of, we've had 2 incidents in the past 10 months of AIF infiltration. The first one occurred was a new recruit who detonated a suicide vest when he came into the 2nd Commando Brigade compound and joined in a formation of his fellow commandos. That was the first case. The second case, we actually had 3 members of the mechanized police that were arrested by MOI forces about 2 days after a vehicle-borne IED crashed into a mechanized brigade police checkpoint adjacent to Route Irish. And they were implicated in that they helped set up the attack, if you will. Please let me finish the answer to the question, which is the commandos actually do a very good job vetting all recruits, and which is one of the reasons why we're not full strength. We have about 8,900 out of 11,000 authorized, but they're really searching for quality rather than quantity. They recruit only through word of mouth. We don't have recruiting centers set up in a mall or something like that, and basically every guy that comes in is known to some of his fellow comrades, which is a way that they have of cutting down potential infiltration.
Can you just tell us the results of that suicide attack you mentioned?
It was, I don't remember exactly, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 commandos killed and 15 wounded. But that's an estimation. It's been about 6 months, and honestly, I've forgotten.
Thank you.
Okay, Colonel, I believe you had something you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, I would like to say something. In closing, I'd like to say a few words about one of the Army values, and that's selfless service. The commandos and the Spits who serve with them make tremendous sacrifices for the good of their countries. And honestly, it's humbling to know these men. They serve the people, and they do it voluntarily. For the Iraqis, the volunteer force is a new concept. But they're starting to learn that democracy is far more complex than simply choosing those who govern you. Democracy requires individual sacrifice for the good of society, and these men are doing just that. In the past year alone, the 1st Commando Brigade has suffered 99 men killed in action and 140 wounded. Those who remain honor their fallen comrades by continuing to serve. They, like their coalition teammates, put the needs of their fellow men, their units, and their nations above their own. Regarding the Spits, many of us are on our 2nd or 3rd combat tour in the past 4 years. These men and their families have sacrificed a lot for the good of others. They've missed the births of children, birthdays, graduations, anniversaries, and they've also lost friends. Why do they serve? They do it for you, and they do it for me. We all owe them a great deal. It's truly an honor to serve with all of these men, both Iraqi and American. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Colonel Buchanan, and we hope to see you again in our briefing room.